You know, as a Christian, one of the best things that you want to do to receive the reward of blessing is tithing. But do you realize that most of us are tithing from January to December, but we have never ever tasted the reward of the tithes that we offer in our churches? One thing that we are always forgetting is that we are dealing with God, not humankind, not people that you can bribe so that you get a piece of paper called a certificate or something or favor. We are dealing with a God who is systematic with his instructions and everything that he expects from us. You see, the biggest threat about tithing and expecting the reward that never comes is the fact that Christians have perhaps deliberately chosen to focus so much on the reward than the systematic way of the purpose of tithing. I want to give you a short story before we get to the purpose of tithing. You see, when you read the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1 to 25, God spoke to Samuel, and he sent Samuel to King Saul, to anoint King Saul, and sent Saul to Amalekites to fight the enemy. And there were specific instructions that Samuel was given to offer to Saul. Saul was supposed to take soldiers in 10,000s and go to Amalekites to fight, and the victory was promised by God. But there were instructions. The instructions were, destroy every single thing that you can see within the enemy's territory, and do not spare anything, including the young ones. When Saul went into the field, they fought, got the victory, but then something happened. Saul and the soldiers realized that there were some beautiful things, fat cows, fat sheep, some golden ornaments, and a life of a guy that they decided to spare. God became angry and told Samuel that I regret choosing him as a leader. Do you know what that means? The Israelites were to suffer again defeat in front of their enemies. You see, the reason why I'm bringing this point, a lot of us are seeking blessings through offering of tithe in churches and places of worship. But we've never questioned ourselves that what are the instructions that have been given by God towards offering of tithe. And this is something that you can only find in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22 to 29, where God instructs the Israelites on how to tithe and the purpose of tithing. Today, some of us take loans to tithe. Some of us borrow money to tithe. Some of us even steal and tithe using the money that has been stolen, resources that have been stolen. And we still expect a reward. Do you know the mistake that we do? We always think that when we tithe and the pastor receives that money and prays for it, we receive our blessings. There is no blessing without systematic way, without understanding the purpose of what you are doing. The main purpose of tithing was to offer thanks to God for having blessed you by the harvest of what you have planted. Things are changing, and today people plant a lot of things. Sometimes you just plant energy. And what you harvest from that energy, you can't be speaking with people and getting money. That is planting energy. What you get from it is what you tithe. And the purpose for doing that is to make sure that those who do not have can also have. My question to you is, have you ever questioned your pastor or your church what your tithe is doing? Because when you read the Bible clearly, It is not a responsibility of the pastor or your bishop or your church to take care of your tithe when you give it to God. It is your responsibility to offer it, to protect it, and make sure that it does what God has instructed us to purpose the tithe. Most of us don't even know where their tithe goes. Some of our tithes are used to build churches, which is not right. The tithe is not and should never be used in building churches. There is something called missionary contribution, where people come together and contribute for a missionary purpose. These are the monies that are supposed to be used to build church, to buy instruments in churches, and do other jobs. Tithe has got its purpose, and that's why most of us are missing on our blessings. Now, when you read one of the chapter that most of your pastors and your churches read for you, Malachi chapter 3 verse 10, it talks about the reward that comes after you have purposed your tithe. That verse that is being read to you every single day to push you to tithe is only talking about reward. It doesn't talk about the purpose. So don't be Saul, who had the reward of finding victory against the Amalekites, but did not maintain the purpose of the fight. The purpose was to destroy everything, but he kept some. My name is Johngora, and I'm a life coach. If this was your first time on my YouTube channel, this is a place where I share a lot of things, the Word of God, motivation, and life coaching, especially on love and relationship. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and hey, you can leave without liking this video. And if you leave a comment below, I would be more than happy. You will be the best that ever happened in my life. Keep smiling.